Hey, my friend. This is your February 2026 Sidereal Astrology Forecast for this month. I'm so blessed and honored to be here with you and to share all the things that are happening in this month. We've got Aquarius season coming up. We've got that full moon in Cancer. We've got the new moon in Aquarius. We've got Mercury Retrograde beginning. We've got a whole lot of stuff, my friend. So I'm going to dive in and share all the things that you need to know in sidereal astrology that are happening for your greatest and highest good, right? So if you are new here, welcome. My name is Danie C. Muniz. I'm an inner work alchemist, and I absolutely love sharing sidereal astrology with you, how to use it in your life, in your business, in your growth and personal development as you are awakening to consciousness. So, my friend, let's dive in with my favorite thing to do as we kick off these. And as a reminder, there is different ways that you can listen or watch this forecast. So the first one is on YouTube. So on the Cosmic Mystic channel on YouTube, you'll find the video version of this where you'll be able to see the charts. You'll be able to see me talking about the different transits that are happening this month. If you want to take this on the go, if you're driving, or maybe you want this in the background, or maybe you're working around the house, whatever it is that you do, because I know you do a bunch of different stuff, you can take me along with you in your earbuds on the podcast, which is the audio version only of this. So you can choose your path, my friend, which one works best for you. I know some people watch the video and then listen to it on the podcast again to get the information, because there's usually a lot of things that I say in these. And so we're going to go ahead and begin. I'm going to share my screen and we're going to dive in. So you can find the links to both of those down in the show notes or the description, wherever you tend to be watching this. You'll see either link. Okay, so as we kick off this month, let's look at where are all the planets. So this is what I like to call the state of the planets. This is where everybody's at as we begin this month. So the first one, we're going to start right here in the center at the top. And this is as of February 1st, we have our sun in Capricorn. We've got on the left and the right to it. So we'll start here with Mercury also in Capricorn. We've got Venus here in Capricorn. Those guys are still conjunct. We'll talk about that in a second, but they're still conjunct. We've also got Mars over here in Capricorn. And we've got Pluto in Capricorn. So I want to take a moment right here to say Pluto is still in Capricorn. Pluto did not move into Aquarius. It is still here. The other planet that you're going to see in a second is Neptune. I've heard a lot of people talk about Neptune. Our tropical friends are talking about Neptune moving into Aries. We'll show you in a second that that is not the case. If we actually were to take a telescope up into the sky, and this is how we view sidereal astrology, you will see that Neptune is still in Pisces and Pluto is still in Capricorn. Okay, now I'm gonna go again. I had to stop because I've been hearing some things and people are asking, and so I wanted to make that clear. All right, we come down here. Now this isn't a planet, but it is the South Node. So the South Node is in Leo. Our moon kicks off here in Cancer, as it is in that energy here for that opposition with the sun, which is that full moon in Cancer. We've got Jupiter over here still retrograde. He is still retrograde in Gemini at 23 degrees. Uranus over here retrograde in Taurus, Chiron over here in Pisces. And then here we go. We've got Neptune and Saturn. Those guys are conjunct. They've been conjunct for a while. They're going to continue to be conjunct all the way through mid-March. We will see them still conjunct. And you can see they are both in Pisces. So Neptune has not moved out. Don't get crazy. We're still here in Pisces. So we're not looking for any craziness. Now, I will say this, Saturn is going to be moving into Pisces later this year. Not now, but later this year. And so we will see a shift here with Saturn, but we won't see that shift with Neptune. And so I do want to give you that. All right, final thing is our North Node here in Aquarius. Okay, so let's dive into the happenings with the Sun. What is the Sun doing this month? First off, we do have this conjunction with Mars, which we have had since December, which is finally going to come off on the 2nd of February. But we do have this line up here, and I want to talk about this right now since we are coming into or out of, depending on when you're watching this, the full moon in Cancer. So it is right here. The timing's just a little bit off. It's later in the afternoon, about 4 o'clock Central, 5 o'clock Eastern. And this is the full moon in Cancer opposing the Sun and Mars in Capricorn. So whenever we're talking about a full moon in Cancer, we're always going to be talking about Cancer in Capricorn. Cancer is that emotional energy, which is ruled by the moon. So the moon is very much at home in her beauty here. She also governs over family, roots, tradition, our home, right? So that very, you can think of like home and family and that traditional energy of family or the traditions within your family. The opposite energy, which is Capricorn, is all about succeeding, professional, right? It's our professional energy. It's the structured energy. It's more of the masculine energy. So this moon right here is the balancing of that feminine energy and that masculine energy. Well, now we pair that, as we can see with this particular full moon, with that energy of Mars, which is also very masculine energy. It's also very doing, pushing type energy. So they're usually, when we talk about the full moon in Cancer, it's like, okay, how are we balancing our home life and our professional work life, right? How we're achieving our goals or working towards the things that we want in our life, and also in that stillness, in that allowing and receiving, right? And so it's like, how are we managing that, or how are we navigating that? And the full moon is that opportunity to release, right? To let go. And so with this particular full moon, one of the things that I've really been feeling into with this is that it is the opportunity for us, the things that we've been working on as it relates to the ancestral lineage, right? As it relates to our families, as it relates to the things in which we grew up, the things that are pretty norm, right, for our family. I know in my family, a big norm, a big upfront norm was my dad instilled this upon me and my brothers, that we are leaders, that we are strong, we are capable, right? And so it was very much, that is very much a family thing. Like, we're the best. Like, you know, I think of Karate Kid, like, you're the best around. Like, I think of that song because like that was very much our family energy. Now, there's good things about that and there's challenging things about that, right? Things that I've definitely had to work through with that idea. On the flip side, like the unconscious kind of patterns that I see is the shoving things under the rug. Like, we're just going to take this, we're just going to put it under here, we're not going to talk about it, right? Very much that energy. And so it's very interesting that we're in this place right here, and you might be seeing some of these things coming up maybe over the past few days, maybe a couple of days after that energy is getting activated in different ways. It happens to all of us in the subtlest of ways, but this energy is coming through. So my question to you, my friend, and what I'd invite you to do is saying, what are some of the things that you've been working on? How might this be attached to a belief system that your family unit has, right? Again, we're talking about the family you were born into, the family who raised you, those people. Like, what are some of those belief systems that either they have, right, as a unit, or that you took on or made decisions about? Because just that concept, and I don't want to get too far into this, but just this concept of my dad really instilling upon my brothers and I that we're the best, right? That we're like, pretty much we're better than anybody, right? Like, we're better. And that idea came through for me as when I am not the best. So when I am second, right? Or when I am below second, or when I didn't achieve the A, right? Then I was worthless. Like, I made that decision. My dad never said that, right? My dad never said, you're worthless because you got a B, right? It was like, you could do better. I mean, definitely would say those, which are facts. Those were definitely facts. I could probably have put more energy into it, in some cases, and maybe not in others, right? But I made the decision that I was less than. So always striving to appear to know all, always striving to be the best. And when I failed, it was a huge failure. It wasn't just like, oh, dang it, I got second. It was like, oh shoot, I'm worthless, right? And that's the belief that I've had to overcome years and years and years of, like, working through these different things, because they show up in different ways, right? As we heal it, we move on, we start going, and there's another layer that kind of comes in. And so this right now, I'm telling you my particular lineage patterns that I'm looking to break, right? But what is it for you? What is that pattern that your family, maybe it's similar to mine, maybe it's different, that you want to release and let go? That's what this full moon is all about. Okay, and we're gonna keep going on with the sun, because I could sit here and talk to you forever about that energy. Okay, so moving on, we've got this falling off, as I was mentioning, on the 2nd. So we're gonna see that fall off on the 3rd. And next, we're not going to see anything with the sun until it hits Chiron on the 6th. So we're going to come over here to the 6th, and we're going to see this sextile here with Chiron for about 9 days or so till the 17th. And so this is an ideal time for you to really step into that artistic, more leader kind of energy. It's, how do I say this? This is where, like, your woundings, because we're talking about Chiron, right, will start to enter consciousness, but from a place of wanting to move past them, wanting to see them in different ways, wanting to allow yourself to step into a new story around these. And so if you are doing any type of shadow work, or as I like to say, doing the work, this is a great time. It's shedding light on the darkness. It's shedding light on some of the things that may have looked like they were challenging or they were a weakness of yours, but they were actually your strength, okay? That is our Chiron energy. And then a couple of days later on the 9th, we're going to see the moon square Uranus. Now, Uranus is that rebellion energy. It's that unique energy. It's different. And so this is going to require you to have more of an open mind and to be more flexible, because there's a feeling that you may have of uncertainty. Now, I know I don't need astrology to tell me, right? I just look outside and I can see that there's a lot of uncertainty in our world, right? But we, right? It's one of my taglines years ago was peace in the chaos. It's one of the reasons why my website is thepeaceteacher.com. It's understanding how to still have peace when the external is chaotic, how you can still live in sovereignty, right? Separate from that external. But you will, because of this square with Uranus, which is going to be most of the month, it'll be through the 9th through the 21st, is it might feel some uneasiness, an impending change. There's like this buildup of something's going to happen, something's coming, something's about to move or shift. And it can feel a little chaotic, right? It can feel like, oh, right, what's going on? Your ego also is very, very strong with Uranus here, and it's wanting to express, okay? It's wanting to output. It's wanting to just say, it's like it wants to say the thing that you've been wanting to say, but you've been fearing saying. Like Aquarius, Uranus doesn't care. And we're moving into Aquarius season. So this is going to be prime with this. And you're going to hear me talk a lot about this in just a moment, about this like rebellion energy and wanting to just be free to say what it is that you want to say and carve your unique path and break. This is a really good time to kind of break free from of those restrictions and habits that may be limiting you. All right, the last one I want to talk about before we move into talking about Aquarius energy is on the 27th, we're going to see this connection with Jupiter. So I think it's later in the afternoon. So let me go to the 28th. There we go. Right here, you're going to see this trine with Jupiter. Now, the trine is a very, very supportive energy. So these two energies are kind of coming together in a really, really beautiful way. And this is going to be from the 27th through March 10th. There's a lot of growth energy here. Jupiter's very optimistic. It's happy. It's enthusiastic. It's very generous. It's confident, and it's looking to begin things and start things and like just understand like a new perspective in many, many ways. Jupiter is kind of like that higher thinking, that being able to see the forest from the trees, right? That eagle eye vision. It's usually how I like to see that energy, is like it's taking in that bigger picture. So it's not looking at these incidents that are happening here and there. It's looking at the bigger shift that is happening. Okay. And so let's go back and talk about this Aquarius energy. So the sun is going to move into Aquarius on the 12th of February and be there until the 13th of March. So Aquarius, as I've kind of already started to mention here, is the energy of rebellion, right? It is against the conditioning that maybe we've been set into, the expectations of this is how it has to be done because this is the way it's always been done kind of energy. This is breaking free from that, breaking free from the things that you have inherited from family, from society, that have said it has to be this way. This is how we do it. This is innovation here. Aquarius is all about seeing the future and moving into that future, even though we might not quite be able to see it yet. And, here we go, right here. It's in the evening on the 12th. There's a lot of unapologetic energy here with Aquarius. I'm unapologetically me. I am, unapologetically expressing who I am. It doesn't matter what you believe because this is what I believe, right? And so there's this vision that is that possible current reality, right? This is what Aquarius energy is here for, to help us see the possibility of a future, right? Seeing beyond the current reality. And I'm excited for this because with Capricorn, we can definitely get caught up in the, the material, in what we're seeing, and not into what is possible, right? And so with Aquarius, it's like, let's move out of this and let's step into what is possible. So with Aquarius, the fact that you are different, because I hear this a lot, is like, I'm so different from my family, or I'm so different from my friends, or I'm so different, right? I'm different. And this different idea, this different is the point, my friend. This different is the point. You are meant here. You are unique. There is only one you. There's only one Danie, and nobody else can be Danie. People could try, but nobody else can be Danie. I am a unique snowflake, and so are you. The whole point is to be different. When people tell me, "Oh, you've changed," I'm like, "Really? Tell me what you see." Like, I want to change. I want to be a different version of myself. I want to be the best version of myself. So you're weird, my friend. Your weird is the thing. The weird is your gift. The weird is your medicine. That is your refusal to do it the old way is what's needed. Your refusal to do it the old way is what is needed. That is what is needed in whatever it is that you're doing, whatever your soul calling is, whatever your purpose is. That's right there, my friend. The way that you do it, the different way that you do it is what's needed. Behind you, we're on this bridge. Our generation, Gen X, I'm a Gen Xer. Our generation is like this bridge. So if you are a boomer, then you'll understand this. And if you are a millennial, or if you are Gen Y, Gen Z, like, you'll understand this. Gen X is really the bridge, because the boomer generation, right? They are the generation who followed the rules. They're the ones who suffered in silence. They're the ones who played it safe, who stayed small. The generation that is, coming up behind us, the millennials and the Gen Y, Gen Z, right? They have options. They have options. They have options to do different things because of Gen X. Gen X is that middle space where we were like, F that, legitly, F that, we're doing something different. Now, we were in that molding and creating, millennials, very much especially the elder millennials, very much with us, where now it's like, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that, right? We created that for them. That freedom that they have, right, to choose, that wholeness is the healing. This generation, these next generations, they are coming from a more healed place, right? They're very different. And that is because we created that bridge. So we have to also recognize that we are not this. Right? We are not the ones who stay in those patterns anymore. We have broken it. We are continuing to break it so that we can show the future generations, right, that you have options. You don't have to stay stuck in any of that. You can choose something different. My friend, this is why we're here. This is why we're the pattern breakers. This is why we are the pioneers. Okay, let's move on to, so we'll talk a little bit about Aquarius. And I wanted to give you that frame because we have a few other planets that are going to be moving into Aquarius. So let's start and let's talk a little bit about those, because let's get all of this out right here. So we have first off, we have Mercury, who is going to be moving into Aquarius right here on the 3rd. So Mercury starts, he's the first one. Mercury moves into Aquarius on the 3rd, and he's actually going to be in Aquarius for quite a while because we do have a retrograde coming up. So first off, let's talk about this Mercury in Aquarius, because it's very similar to the things that I just said about Mercury, about a sun moving into Aquarius and that Aquarius energy. The only difference here is that this is now being focused into the area of our communication, our thinking, our learning, and for those of us that are business owners, our messaging, our message, what we're saying. And so Aquarius being that innovation, revolution, liberation type energy, our mind, our mental energy is here to get an upgrade. So with Mercury in Aquarius, we are thinking beyond our current reality. We're thinking beyond, right? I mentioned that earlier. We're seeing something different. We're looking at new ways of communicating or different ways of communicating, breaking maybe some of the molds in which we used to communicate. I see this especially with familial energy, right? In we don't talk about that, or right, like let's just shove that under the rug, like that type of thing. Like this is like no. We talk about things, like we now talk about things. Sorry, I know that's not what you like. That's not comfortable, but we do this, right? We're breaking that. Truth telling. We are actually speaking the truth, which is uncomfortable for people, right? It is uncomfortable for you to share a truth that you're seeing or that you're experiencing. It can get really uncomfortable for people who don't let's not talk about that, right? Pattern recognition. This is a really good thing with Aquarius is so good. My love is an Aquarius moon, and he just sees patterns like all the time. He's so good at connecting the dots between things, and I'm like, how did you do that? Right? He's really good at this. And so this is giving us that opportunity to really refine that skill for ourselves and recognizing patterns, right? Recognizing when, like, wait, like, right, bringing it all together. So this is something that I love, and I'm super excited for every Mercury in Aquarius season. The other thing is that future focus. So sometimes in Capricorn, we get a little bit stuck in like the day to day and like, okay, we're just going, we're doing our thing, we're working towards our goal. And with Aquarius, it's like, no, let's move beyond this. Let's think of a different way to do this. Let's move, right? There's a little bit more movement energy here. It's also an air sign, so it does flow a little bit more here. So I love this because for those of us here that are breaking those patterns, especially the ancestral patterns, right? We ourselves, we get clearer on what it is that we believe. We get clearer on what our message is, what we want to put out there. There's a lot more unapologetic energy coming, a lot more bold energy coming with like, no, this is what I believe and this is what I stand for, right? Because it's here to expand our thinking, expand our communication, and really clarify what it is we are here to do and support. Right? What our energy is here for. Now, let's talk about this Mercury retrograde because this is coming up this month, and it'll be at the end of the month. So February 26th through March 20th, Mercury will be retrograde in Aquarius. Now, there is always a pre-shadow and a post-shadow. So I'm going to tell you right now, it's not wait till the 26th when Mercury goes retrograde. It's pre-shadow period begins on February 11th. February 11th, we are going to see it start to enter that pre-shadow. So what is pre-shadow? Pre-shadow is what's going to happen in a Mercury retrograde is, Mercury is moving along, and then when it goes retrograde, it appears to be going backwards. Now that's not true, but from our where we are on Earth and how we can see Mercury, it looks like that is happening. So what we see, right? Not what actually is happening, but what we see, it looks like Mercury has gone through this space and then now it's going back over this space. And so the pre-shadow is that original path that Mercury is going through. The Mercury retrograde period is where it's going back and then it starts to move forward once it goes direct again. So it goes over the path once, it goes back through the path, and then it goes through it a third time. So the first time that it goes through it is called the pre-shadow period. And that is the period where we will start to see like something start coming up. You'll start seeing like repetition of things coming up, or you'll start like getting curious about certain things, or you'll start to have challenges with things. And it's like, wait, pay attention during this pre-shadow period, pay attention, because when Mercury does go retrograde, that's an opportunity for you to dive into those things and see, okay, what is this connected to? What patterns are here for me to work through, to heal, to move beyond, right? So that when Mercury does go direct, you can now say, okay, I'm ready. So if you encounter those challenges again, which often does happen, is you now have a different plan, right? You have a different perspective. You're in a different place. So pay attention during the pre-shadow, then do the work during retrograde, and then take that, what you've learned, and really step forward as you move through when it goes direct. Okay, that's the gist of any Mercury retrograde. Now, with it being in Aquarius and us talking about this rebellion energy and this authenticity and really stating my powerful message, I can already tell you, my friend, that there may be things that are stopping you from being bold and authentic and really like owning your unique message and your unique thing, right? There definitely may be some challenges with that. So that Mercury retrograde period, this is the opportunity to step into the container to do that work, to look at those beliefs. What is this connected to? Where did I make decisions about myself based on some of these situations that happened to me? Maybe your parents told you, right, to tone it down, or maybe at school, right, they, told you had to not wear that thing that you liked to wear. Whatever that might be, my friend, there are situations in our childhood that definitely impacted us, and it doesn't even have to be in our childhood. It could be earlier or later, in life. It could be an experience that we went through where somebody said something and all of a sudden we're like, oh, I can't do that anymore, right? Look at those things, because my friend, those things, shifting the energy around those things is what's actually going to free you and allow you to be that bold, authentic, beautiful self that you are. All right, there are a couple of other things that I do want to say about Mercury outside of just this retrograde, even though that is a big part of what's going on. But before that happens, we do have a few things. We do see that Mercury and Venus are still hanging out. They've been hanging out since January, and they're going to continue to hang out all month, all the way through March 3rd. So these two are really, Venus is going to also move into Aquarius as well. And so when that happens, we'll also see that energy flow in there. And we've also got Mars going in there, because we do have Mars over here. So all of these guys are going to be moving into Aquarius, okay? They're going to leave Pluto and they're going to move into Aquarius. So we also have what was the other one? That was it. That was all I want to tell you about Mercury. Okay, so let's move on to, I had to check my notes. Let's go on to Mars. So Mars is it is currently in Capricorn, and it is going to move out of Capricorn and into Aquarius on the 23rd. So we're going to look at it here and see how it's moved into Aquarius. Now, again, we're talking about the same type of energy we've been talking about Aquarius, but with Mars is more of that action-oriented energy. It's the motivation and it's our drive. And so we're looking at what is the unique. So there's a way for you to understand, like, what is your unique motivation? How are you uniquely motivated? So I know for me that there's a unique process that my mind goes through. I learned this when I was studying to become an NLP practitioner, neuro-linguistic programming, is the way that my mind encodes motivation. And so there's a series of things that my mind will go through to get me to the point to be like, okay, I'm ready to I'm motivated. Like, I'm ready. I hear a lot of people say like, oh, I'm just not motivated to do that. there's a way to get yourself motivated, right? And so your mind goes through a process to get to that point. And once you learn what your unique process is, it makes it really easy for you to be like, okay, I don't want to do this. I don't feel motivated, but I want to be motivated to do this, to take yourself through those steps to get yourself into that place to get motivated to do something. And so this is what this Mars in Aquarius is like. I'm going to do things my own way. I'm going to do it in my unique way. So not only are we looking at consciousness, right, with the sun in Aquarius and our thinking, our communication, our learning, and now our actions. And now the things that we're doing are unique to us, are our own unique medicine. So the way that you do sacred ceremony might be different than somebody else does. And it doesn't mean it's right or wrong. It's just simply the way that you do it, right? I always have a selenite right here on my desk. That's like, I don't know if anybody else does that. Maybe they do, but this is something that is like a very, a practice I have, because I'm always making sure that my energy is clear and I'm cutting anything, any connections, any cords, especially when I'm working with clients, right, that may be connected to them. And so like, that's a simple thing that might be unique to me that, I'm here to share, right? Because it works for me. So I'm going to share it with you. And so there's might be things again that you're doing, and that's what Mars is going to bring out. Now, a couple of things with Mars that I do want to point out, because these are a little bit longer of a transit, and then we'll get into Venus, is the first one being this square over here to Uranus. So this is going to come into play on the 19th of February and will be here till the 6th, so a couple of weeks. And when we're looking at Mars and Uranus, again, Uranus rules over Aquarius. This is why I want to point this out, because again, this energy is amplified here. So I'm going to say during this period is a really, really great time, my friend, to really break free from your limitations, break free from the stories, break free from the things that have been pulling you back, right? That have not allowed you to fully show up in your beautiful way. This right here, there's going to be a big push to just break free from any of the limitations. So one of the things I do want to caution you though, is Mars can be a little volatile. And so we want to be careful here, because we can get into the energy of some volatility, right? It can be rash, and it can be without any regard, right, for anything. It's just like, I'm just going to act, I'm just going to do, and really not thinking things through, right? This is where that grounded energy comes in. This is why the first container that I'm opening this year, the grounded self, is all about making sure that we are grounded, so that we are making decisions, that we are acting from a grounded place. Sometimes I see things that are happening out, in my city or in the world, and I'm like, person needs to ground, right? They need to ground that energy. Like they're letting their emotion get the best of them. And I'm not saying that, emotion is a bad thing. I'm a Cancer moon. I'm very emotional, and I do notice where my emotions can get the best of me, and I can go off on my love, or I can, get into a state and have to pull myself out of it, right? Like grounding and the practices for disconnecting from the external and coming back here, return to self. That's why it's return to self, the grounded self, because we want to come back here. And in that container, I'm going to teach you how to disconnect from it all, how to not let social media, the news, your family, anybody, right, rock you, but allow you to come back to who you are and allow you to be that grounded self. So if you want more information on Return to Self, the grounded self, the container opens this month in February 17th, and is a 12-week container. So there's more information down below in the description and the show notes for you to come join. I'd love to have you come join us. It is a small group, so once that number gets filled, like that's it, I'm closing the doors, and not till the next container won't open until I believe it's May. So just wanted to let you know about that. Okay. So moving on, the last thing we're going to talk about is Venus. So let me pull up my screen and show you Venus. Now, Venus does move into Aquarius pretty early, pretty much towards the end of middle of them. Sorry, let me go back up. Okay, right here on the 5th of, the beginning of February, right here on the 5th of February, she is moving into Aquarius. So just as we said with everybody else, right? Mars and its action, Mercury and its thinking and communication, the sun in our consciousness, Venus is in our energy of relationships, in love, right? And it's also in the energy of values, what we value, and money being one of the energies within that. So when we're looking at Venus here, we're looking at how there's some spontaneity that we're wanting in our relationships. There's some uniqueness, something different. And so you might feel a pull to do something different, to engage in a different way, to, be in a different way with Venus here in Aquarius. And so there's just it's interesting because, again, I'm going to go back to this, and it's just because it's truth, is because all of these planets are moving into this particular sign, which in Capricorn is a very grounded sign. So the things that are happening are more on a concrete level. With Aquarius, it's an air energy, right? So it's more fluid, and it's faster, and it can feel more chaotic, where, I'm not saying that Capricorn season has not had its interesting events, let's just say, but it also has allowed us to stay pretty okay, right? Aquarius is a little bit more shaky, which is, again, the reason why we work with the planets. We don't let the planets affect us, and why learning how to disconnect from all of that and really grounding into self and being that grounded, solid person and having those practices is key. So, okay. All right, last thing we're going to talk about with Venus here is she is going to be, she has a couple of different connections, but she also has the connection with Uranus. So I want to pull this in here. She's got that square that happens on the 3rd of February and is to the 8th of March. And I want to bring this in because, again, just like with Mars and Uranus, and even Mercury and Uranus, we also have Venus here. And so Venus is testing things. She's testing the stability of things within our relationships. So that might be within our partnership. Maybe we're in a committed relationship, in a marriage, or maybe we're single and we're dating. And so it's testing some of those things. It's testing that energy of how stable is this relationship. And it's also testing in our intimate partner relationships, in all relationships. So even our friendships. So is this a stable relationship? Is this a stable friendship, right? There might be some need for change or some need for some freedom in the relationship, right? And so you're looking for those opportunities. If somebody's a little bit more quiet and shy, right? They might want to try to be a little bit different, right? Or somebody who is maybe louder and more freer, right, is trying to pull that maybe out of them. And so there might be some changes. Now, one of the things that I always say with Aquarius energy, no matter what sign or planet, what planet we're talking about, is this energy loves and thrives on freshness, newness. So even if you're like, well, I don't want to make any big changes, Danie, like even just taking a different route opens up your perspective. So if you always go, for my fellow Texans here, if you always go to HEB the same exact way, right? Try a different way. Go a different route. When you go out of your driveway, instead of going right, go left, right? And maybe when you usually, make that right turn into HEB, make it a left turn, right? Try it something different. You'll notice that you see different things. I had a friend of mine, we were driving somewhere and she was like, oh, that's that place. Like, she had never driven that road that we were on during the day. So she had never seen it because at night it's not as bright, right? And so she didn't see this place. And she was like, oh, that's where that place is. And it was like, yes, like when you go down different streets at a different time, or you go down a different way, you see something different. And that allows our consciousness to open and expand and see something new. And we invite that in because we don't want to get stuck in our rigid way of thinking. All right, my friend, this has been our Sidereal Astrology Forecast for the month of February. I hope that you have enjoyed this. I would love to hear what you're taking away from this this video or this podcast. Feel free to leave a comment down below in our comment section. If you're on YouTube, if you are on the podcast on like Spotify or any of the other places, you can also always come on over to Instagram. I am most on Instagram than any other platform. It's my favorite. You can always DM me at Danie DANIEC MUNIZ on Instagram, and I'd love to hear what you're taking away from this. And again, if you're looking for support to navigate all the things that are happening right now and really be at peace, or come from a place of peace and groundedness in whatever actions you decide to do, then come and join me inside Return to Self, the Grounded Self. I'm so excited for this container. I'm so excited to put my all into it and to give everything I possibly can to help you really understand how important it is to disconnect from everything, and how important it is to understand how you're viewing things and how you're looking at things, and the decisions that you made from your experiences, and how those are shaping your reality, and how to choose something different. So if any of that is you're being called to it, then I'd love to invite you in. All right, my friend, have a great rest of your day. And until next time, remember to keep shining your unique light.